Hey, welcome back to the channel. We welcome you into Everything Money. Of course, this is Seth and Paul. Paul, I play with this mic a lot. People yell at me in the comments. I
Do they
apologize.
really?
You know, again, I grew up watching Howard Stern all the way back like late, like 90s, 90 something. And he'd always grab the mic and throw it around. But regardless, that's not why you're here. We're talking about crypto today. This is not a very popular topic on our show. Paul has been adamantly against the idea of not only believing in things like Bitcoin and now Coinbase, but all the other coins. I had a phone call with you, Paul. It was many years ago now, prior to when Bitcoin spiked way up to like $20,000. It might have been in the $12,000 range or something. And,
Oh, I thought it was after it spiked, wasn't it?
no, it was well before. I was into it before the spike.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, my folks, I bought 3 Bitcoins when they were around $3,000. That's when I got on the train. And when they went up to $20,000, my Coinbase account said 60 grand. And of course, I was going to the moon. I didn't sell then because, as Paul would say, why would you ever sell? It's going to keep going. But regardless, Paul, I want to bring up a video. There's a YouTuber who's quite popular, and you don't even know who he is. His name is Andre G. He's a nice guy. Andre, you're not going to see this video, but if you follow him, he's just the nicest guy ever. Like, I just want to go over to his house and borrow a cup of sugar. He basically does the whole show smiling, Paul. So like, I'm going to just smile this whole thing. And
Is that what you said?
Andre, yeah. And if you're going to watch this video, I'm just going to smile through the whole video. So literally yesterday, he just, he popped up a video, Paul, and the title was I just became a millionaire with Dogecoin. And he just flippantly, happily just tells this story of one of the people that maybe contacted him that took their $180,000 savings and put it all in Dogecoin months ago when it was at
They are rich as hell.
4 pennies.
And now it's at what?
At 27 pennies. And so they have instantly become a millionaire. And what I didn't like, what I really like to the core, Paul, is I couldn't understand how Andre, he's got 1 million subscribers, but he was just so pleased and happy that this happened. And he literally said, if this is you, this video is for you. If this is happening to you, this is where I'd love to talk about this. And it's just like, he's YOLOing 180 grand. You see, I have to like hold my head, like, how can I even gather my thoughts? And it bothered me so much because we're at this state, Paul, that like, this is so normal to just dump money into these cryptos because we're reading the news, we're reading social media. I couple it with this, Paul, and I hate to go on a long rant. I'm a photographer, folks. I've been a photographer for 10 years. I've photographed about 210 weddings with my wife over the past 10 years. Most photographers, Paul, they don't start out as business people. They start out loving being an artist, taking pictures. They evolve into good business. And a lot of times for zillions of them, Paul, they don't evolve into good business people because they are artists and they don't learn the business of being a photographer. And so I've transitioned after a decade of like, photography is about an hour of shooting and then about 25 hours of being a business owner. And, but I'm in a group, Paul, with some friends, some dear friends, and I'm not calling them out, but they're in a crypto group. And I just see every couple of days, hey guys, have you heard of these 3 weird coins that you've probably never heard of? But they're spiking and we got to get into this. I got to dump more money into my precious money into these coins. And someone literally wrote, I'd love to look into these more. Like, I'd love to learn about it. I'm thinking to myself, what is there to learn?
Well, that's exactly it, Seth.
What are they learning? So if this is the first time you're seeing us, Paul and I, you're probably going to see some opinions that you've hopefully never seen on another YouTube video because we feel pretty alone in this process, as Paul says, as being an empathetic villain in calling out what the hell is going on in this world. So take it away, Paul. I love you.
A compassionate villain.
Thank you. Go for that.
First thing, Google, how many cryptocurrencies are there? How many cryptocurrencies? In short, there are over 4,000 as of early 2021.
Now, I thought this was like 3,000 last.
I thought it was 6,000, so it's at 4,000. Call it 4,000, right?
Go on.
Guys, there's something you have to understand that I've looked at in history. When you go back 150 years of financial history, and you look at every bubble and burst, even going back to centuries ago with the tulips, and look that up, the tulip bubble, what you realize is when the average person gets into something and it does nothing but make money, I just ask you very simply, how is it possible that everybody in the world is a good investor? How is it possible that every single person you know is making tons of money? How is that even a possibility?
I relate this, Paul, back to my entire life, in that like every time there was this scheme where we could all make a bunch of easy money,
how often does it work out?
There was like, remember when everyone was playing poker and it was just the easiest thing ever? Like everyone was making money. The people, people, when I see people getting lottery tickets, it just seems like they think it's such easy money, like they actually have a chance. And then I realized when you grow up and you're 40 years old, you realize it's kind of hard to make.
Well, some people never grow up then.
It's kind of hard to make a business that works, that makes money.
And when I talk about business and I talk about investing, what do I talk about as the most important thing? Do I talk about the numbers being the most important thing? I really don't. I sit there and talk about the discipline and the emotion of it is the most important thing. And that is what we're doing different here. And I sit there and look at it and go, okay, let's say I'm wrong about crypto. Even if I'm wrong about crypto in general, and there might be one or two that do well, it's like the dot-com bubble. I was wrong about Amazon back in the dot-com bubble, but that's the one I was wrong about. All the other hundreds and hundreds of companies did nothing and they went under, right? Same thing here. If you're banking on every single one of these 4,000 becoming the next big thing, guys, just think about that. How is that even possible? We have 150, 200, how many currencies do we have in the world right now? Probably 150, I don't know what the number is. Are there some that are stable and there are some that are unstable? What's the world's most desired currency? The US dollar, right? I look at that and I sit there and say, okay, is this going to replace the dollar? Which one of these coins is going to replace the dollar and why? Why is it? You guys don't realize that all it takes is governments banning, which they've already started doing. Some governments started banning cryptocurrencies. Because if you're a government, you say, wait a second, we want to control the currency. This is what I talk about when I say governments want the control. They want to control the currency. So all it's going to take is what? Yeah, you're not allowed to ever do anything in crypto. And if you do, you're arrested. That's all it takes. Just like that. Whenever we talk about any investment, we sit there and say, what is the biggest hindrance or the blocker to that investment? Well, I'll tell you what, with crypto, it's government. It's just a matter of time before government says, hang on a second. One, we'll just create our own cryptocurrency, our own digital currency. Which, by the way, how is current money not digital currency? I mean, we don't ever. Yeah. When was the last time I paid any of you guys in cash?
Yes.
Even our little intern over here, Quinn, I pay in Venmo.
Very little guy, kind of weak, feeble.
I mean, he's the best basketball player I know, but he's 120 pounds. I don't get it.
You know, Paul, I want you to. Why don't, as a normal viewer who is probably watching this channel, how do you dissuade them from getting into this? Because I just see my friends.
I'm not here to dissuade you. I'm here to lay out what I believe to be the way I view the facts. Somebody in our Patreon recently sent me an email. And this is somebody who believes in us and pays us for our software on everythingmoney.com. He said, Paul, I think you need a cryptocurrency expert on your staff. And I just wrote back, what the F would make somebody a cryptocurrency expert? There is no foundational reason why any cryptocurrency has a fundamental. All you'd have is a lot of people believe in this one versus this one. That's all. So I'm gonna sit there and say, okay, great, I'm an expert. Just give me the number of people who own Bitcoin versus Ethereum versus blah, 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 blah. Okay. It's not like there's an expert in banking where they go, I understand banking. I understand this sector of stocks. I understand real estate. I understand this. It's crypto. And that's what I sit there and say. I lived through the 2000 crash. Everyone made a ton of money on dot-coms. Everyone did. And then everyone lost a ton of money on dot-coms, right? This is playing out no different. Will it take a while? Yeah, maybe it will. But the other day, Bitcoin went from 64,000 to 47,000 like that. Even though somebody might say, well, yeah, but it's 64, it's still 47,000 versus, well, great. But do you want your stable currency that you rely on to be fluctuating 30% in a matter of days? Guys, that happens in Venezuela. That happens in post-World War II Germany. These are not things that happen on stabilized currencies that you're relying on. And guess what? If crypto does become a stabilized currency, what's going to happen? You're going to have the growth rates you're getting today? No. Look at the chart of crypto. It's literally this. It's parabolic. Find me a parabolic rise in any asset that didn't end up falling at some point. It always happens. Amazon went from $107 a share in 2000 down to $6 a share just a year and a half, 2 years later. Yes, now it's at 3,500, but you have to sit there and say, I would have been the guy who kept it all the way down. No, you wouldn't have.
So why don't I need to get involved in all this stuff?
There are so many great ways of making money, guys. Why pick the most volatile with no fundamentals? On this channel, we are trying to teach each other and talk about fundamentals and what makes a good investment. How do we get a return on our capital? And the biggest thing about solid investing isn't the gains, it's managing the losses.
See, this is huge. And it took me years to listen to you before you finally talked about, like, it's the downside risk that I need to worry about, whether I'm buying a property, a company, or crypto.
Our friend Grant Cardone, I say that sarcastically, he says 6% return is better than 0%. No, it's not. It's not at all better than 0%. I don't know enough about the situation. If I told you there's an investment here with a 50% chance of going up 6% and a 50% chance of going down 30% versus an investment which is a 100% chance of 0%, statistically speaking, which one's better? This one's better because this one has a 50% chance of 6%, which is a positive 3%, and a 50% chance of a loss of 30%, which is a negative 15%. So the actual expected value return is negative 12%. But when times are good, this is all we remember. Because if you flip a coin a million times, you'll have it where 20 times in a row somewhere, maybe not 20 times, 10 times in a row somewhere, it hits heads 10 times in a row. That's all we're at right now. We're in a situation where nothing has done anything but hit the exact number we wanted to do. But every bad investor doesn't understand downside risk. I always talk about my investments in real estate and stocks. Here's what I'll challenge any big real estate investor out there. I was cash flow positive with 95% debt during COVID shutdown. When our revenue fell 30%, I was still cash flow positive on 95% debt. No other real estate investor who runs the markets and runs on momentum ever had that. Yes. Do I have less deals? Absolutely. But are my deals really good? Absolutely. I just spoke to my good friend Michael yesterday. I told him, I'm so proud of our investing because we don't do many deals, but when we do deals, they're really good deals.
Do.
And your job out there is you have limited capital. You work too hard for your money. Don't put it in this situation just because the returns recently have been very good. Understand what the downside is. When you have what's more likely, guys? What's more likely statistically speaking? Bitcoin going to 600,000 or 6,000? Maybe it is 600,000. You don't know. But I would ask you, what's the reason why I go to 600,000? Just because people like it more? Okay, maybe. But why did we see Bitcoin go from $1 to 1,200, down to 300, up to 18,000, down to 3,000, and now to 64,000, and then down to 47,000, all within 3 years? Is this stable for you? Is this the kind of currency that you want to be dealing with, guys? Is this the currency you want to be dealing with? Not in 3 years, like maybe 4 or 5 years, and the $1 was 10 years ago. But this is all over 10 years. Is this what you want to be dealing with? If this makes sense to you, more power to you. I will not be able to convince you otherwise. And you might make a ton of money off of it. And I'm not saying don't put it in your portfolio as a fun way to trade. But to sit there and say this is going to be the future, it might be. But boy, this is a pretty rocky future, guys. This is not the future you want.
It's gotten to the point, Paul, where I see like normal people talking about these new coins and how they're going to throw money at it. And I'm just sad. I'm kind of saddened by it. Like
There's the old Peter Lynch saying, the cocktail party story. If I go to a cocktail party and I tell people what I do for a living and they don't really care, they're like, oh, that's kind of neat. I know stocks are fairly valued. If they're telling me, if they feel bad for me because I'm in a bad industry, I know stocks are undervalued. If they're giving me their advice, I know stocks are overvalued. You hear everybody talking about crypto. Are we on this train? Have fun. Paul, you're crazy. You're missing out. I'm missing out then. Guess who else is missing out? Charlie Munger, Warren Buffett, and all the other guys who have stood the test of time, 50, 60 years of investing.
But Paul, it's different this time. These are old dudes.
Exactly.
They're rotating out. They're all about to die. You're going to tell this to a 22-year-old.
You know what? I was a 22-year-old who believed that too. Not 22. I was a 19-year-old who believed that too. 18-year-old. Mm-hmm. I did believe that. And then after the crash of 2000, I was like, wait a second. This didn't make sense. And the second I heard somebody talking about value, I go, that's it. I just heard it and immediately understood it. Now I look back at time in high school and the questions I asked were value-oriented questions, but I didn't have the luxury of having YouTube and understanding what other people were talking about.
So if this is the first time someone's ever seen you in this value idea, besides this, like what is value? And close with this, why you're avoiding these hot, trendy cryptos and what a value perspective on looking at companies.
Well, I don't want to use the term value, and here's why. This is what Warren Buffett does say. I believe value investing is redundant. Investing is all about understanding price versus value. Now, all these investors out there, Kathy Wood even says, well, I'm a value investor. No, you're not. No, you're not. Just like when terrorists say they're all about peace. Well, if you're all about peace, why are you flying planes into buildings and all that stuff? I know it's a crazy analogy. I'm not saying Kathy Wood's a terrorist. I'm sitting there saying you can say all you want about what you are, but if it walks like a duck, talks like a duck, looks like a duck, it's a duck. You can sit there and say all day long these guys are value guys, but if you don't understand why you're going to make money, how you're going to make money, how you're going to lose money, you don't understand value. A value investor's proposition is, I want to buy $1 for 75 cents. I want to buy it for less than $1 because the market's going to misprice this. That's it. That's all a value investor is trying to do. Is it rare? Yes, but guess what? There are 10,000 stocks or more in the stock market. Find 20 or 30 that are undervalued. That's 0.2 or 0.3%. That's what I'm trying to teach here. Find real estate deals that have good cash flow because people are overlooking it for whatever reason. Don't go location, location, location. Find cash flow, cash flow, cash flow. That's what I'm trying to teach here, is to think differently from other people. Take yourself out of the mainstream and say, wait a second, what is going on here? With crypto, what is really going on with crypto? When I have high school students telling me, when crypto was at 18,000, I literally had 2 high school students at Walsh go, Paul, it's about blockchain.
Bitcoin, you saying? Yeah.
What did I say?
Crypto, but it's okay. Bitcoin.
Yeah, Bitcoin. It's about blockchain. It's about blockchain. Now, granted, it went down to 3,000, now back up to 47, 50,000, whatever it is. And I'm sure those guys are saying, see, okay. Just like every other thing, go look at the 2000 bubble. It just keeps going up. It has its downturns, but keeps going up and up and up. This is the longest bull market in any, this is literally the all asset bull market. I mean, everything is overpriced that I can see. It's just very, very difficult. I'm asking you, does that make sense to you? If you can't explain to me why it goes up or down, you don't understand it, and you shouldn't invest in it.
Dogecoin's down 33% in the past week. I guess this is the idea that...
Well, you got to buy then, right?
Being down 33%, getting a nice investment that can return 9 or 10% is a slow, disciplined, lonely path where the rest of your friends on Facebook groups who don't know what they're talking about investing, no offense, are buying all this stuff and promoting their game. It's hard to stay on the sideline.
The funniest thing to me is when I hear investors, I know I've been on real estate panels before where literally there'll be a billionaire investor saying, we're still investing here because we're still getting 20% returns on our deals. Well, yeah, but what's your downside? I always say about my stock returns, I don't care if I match the market. If I match the market, I'm still beating. And here's why. I have a lot less downside risk because I'm buying fundamentally sound businesses. And by the way, it just turns out that fundamentally sound businesses outperform the market because the downside risk is so low. When the market's down 40%, you're not down 40. That's the point.
I think because maybe that's it, Paul. That's what you've really opened my mind to the idea is like when you take the slow and steady, disciplined, fundamental approach to investing in companies, of value investors, look, when this all comes crashing down, yours won't crash as much.
Yep. And the other thing is, if a stock's at $100, any investment's at $100, it goes to 50. You now have to go up 100% to make up for that. Okay? The analogy I heard the other day, I read the other day, which I thought was brilliant, was the difference about investing is the world of being wrong costs you money. In soccer or any other sport, if you try to hit a goal, you kick the goal and you miss, you're not penalized points. Right?
Yeah.
They don't take a point away saying, oh, you know what? You missed. Take the point away. Oh, you struck out. You get to take a run away. No, you get another try at it. Investing, when you're wrong, you're punished. You're penalized. And to get from $50 to $100 again takes a 100% increase. And when your expected returns are 10% a year, that is 7.2 years to get back up on compounding at 10% interest. That's 7.2 years. Amazon went from 107 down to 6. Yes, it's at 3,600 now. But how long did it take to even go to 107?
Years.
Oh, 10 years, 12 years? You're telling me you'd have kept it at 6? No, give me a break. Give me a break. That's ridiculous.
Final take on Dogecoin, Paul.
The guy started as a joke. I mean, I don't know what else to say besides the guy literally said he started as a joke. because they like dogs or something like that. If you think that's the future, that's the future. More power to you. If I'm not making sense to you, you want to criticize me in the comments, more power to you. It doesn't bother me. I'm speaking to those people that go, oh, wait, this makes sense. We have 31,000 subscribers right now, Seth. Some of the people out there have 4 or 5 million. I'd rather have 500,000 that believe the way these 31,000 believe than 5 million that we're all over the board here. We're really trying to appeal to a very select group of people, right? And that's the main goal here. We create a software for a very select group of people. We have a Discord community for a very select group of people. And that's our goal. I have upstairs 9, 10 businesses and 1,000 units of apartments and a big stock portfolio. I do this because I love it. I do it because I love teaching. I teach at my high school, and I'm soon to be teaching at a law school here in the Northeast Ohio area, investing, because I just love it. Because guess how much they pay me? 0. I get paid 0 to do it. I just love doing it. So if you want to sit there and go believe the YouTube stars who have to sit there and tell you what you want to hear so they can make money, more power to you. We want to make money, but we're not here to make money. We're here to teach and along the way provide software that teaches the right way.
That's our take on cryptos again on Dogecoin. If you've made it this far, congratulations. Keep watching, because there's a lot to learn about why you don't necessarily need this malarkey, and you can make sound investments, and you can rest easy at night knowing you'll have a great life and a great build of wealth. And if you want to argue with Paul, he'll be responding as he sits in his Mexican mansion on the cliffs of the Pacific. So yeah. Okay. Thanks for watching. Tickle the thumbs up. Love you guys.